Hello again. So, I'm back. Second vlog. Today we're going to discuss selection and teaching. I literally just wrote that down right before I started recording, but I still had to look over to it. And yes, I'm still looking at the screen instead of looking at the lens, which is what I should do, but anyways, nobody's perfect. So, I was asked in the comments of the last video what the selection process was like. So, just as a quick review, I work at a Hagwon, Hagwon, and that is a private school. It's an academy for after the main schools are done. The kids come to us. There's different types of academies, math, there's a lot of Chinese Hagwons for learning Chinese or calligraphy, writing. But yeah, so I didn't really so much select my Hagwon. It was more so the analogy, anyways, the analogy that I used was rather than a menu, it's kind of like a set lunch. My experience with Scotia personnel was basically they called and said, hey, you got an offer, we're going to send you the contract, take a read, if you like it, you're good to go. And by good to go, I mean you're good to go to start the process, because there was still a Skype interview. So for the first, this is how this turns into a vlog and not just educational rants, because I'll tell you about my experience. So I had an offer from a school in quite a large city. I liked the offer. I signed the contract. I sent it to them. Then there was some email correspondence. Then we set up a Skype meeting. Skype meeting went well. That was the interview. That's how you'll be interviewed, via Skype. Went really well. They liked me. They wanted to hire me immediately. So great. I'm friggin' jumped. I'm jumped and pumped. And I was so excited. So time's going on, and we're getting all the final papers processed. You have to get your visa, and you have to get a background check, and it's a special background check, not your run-of-the-mill background checks. It's a federal level for Canadian background check. Because I had volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House for like a year prior to this. So I had to get a background check for that. So make sure that you know the language that they're using, like what exactly they're asking for, because these things they're not free. So understand this, going into this process, it's going to cost you about $500 once everything is done. That's going to be, because you're paying for the shipping, you're paying to ship things to Korea, Don't forget to factor in gas. Gas is a factor. Driving back and forth to the store. So, anyways, as it turns out, that actually fell through. They backed out at the last, almost the last day. They said, hey, turns out the employee that we had wanted to stick around, so take a hike. That was very frustrating. But I was undeterred, because honestly, it gave me a really big boost of confidence to realize that, hey, I might be a hot commodity here. I was picked up in a matter of minutes. So they dumped me, and then within 3 days I had another offer, right? Which is one reason why you guys maybe should think about coming to Korea, because there seems to be quite a glut, if you will, for English teachers. So there's no shortage of jobs for that niche. So yeah, that Hagwon wanted me. I read their contract. Same deal. Skype. There's only one interview, Skype interview, and that was it. They were like, yo, come on over. So the selection process, like I said, it's more of a set lunch where there are options presented to you, but it's kind of a piecemeal, one by one. Excuse me, my chicken's burning. I thought I'm a chef. I thought it would be like, you go on Indeed or Monster.com and it's like a job bank. You get an email and it says, oh, these are the schools that are looking for people. Select one, do some research. But no. That's the other thing. Doing research on a school is going to be very difficult. Korean Hagwons, they're such a small. They're small businesses, so they may not have any web presence. They may not have a Facebook group. You may not even be able to Google them. So you're going to be going in with a lot of ambiguity, a lot of vagueness. So my recommendation is talk to your recruiter and say, I want to have a communication relationship with my Hagwon. I want an email address I can talk to, or establish a really good rapport with your recruiter to ask them as many questions as possible. Forewarned is forearmed. And this is a huge move for you. It was a huge move for me. We're talking literally the other side of the world. No security net, no family or friends to fall back on if things go awry. So you're going to want to know as much information as possible. Thankfully, I have a father who is a lot smarter than me, and he insisted that we find out all this information. So, I'm lucky enough to have him. So yeah, next thing, teaching. Okay, I'm going to make this in 4 minutes. Teaching. You may be wondering, what am I going to teach? So I think I may have touched this on the last video. Often they'll have systems established. There's going to be books that you essentially teach from. It's super easy. The challenge doesn't come from teaching the children. The challenge comes from managing them. The challenge comes from having the resilience to deal with, stress that you've never experienced in your homeland. And I'm talking mental stress. Korea is a first world nation. They have electricity. They have one of the best internets in the world. You're not going to be starving in the street or anything like that. But there's definitely a mental health component to surviving in Korea. You have to come here comfortable with yourself, comfortable with being alone. Because I know this doesn't really have much to do with teaching, but psychologically, I don't think it's helpful to make friends out of desperation. You should never say, oh yeah, man, a lot of this behavior pisses me off, but I don't want to be alone, so I guess I'll just go along with it. Man, I hate how much this person drinks, but I don't want to be alone tonight, so I guess I'll put up with it. No. Get used to being by yourself. Get used to, chilling with yourself. Find activities that you can do by yourself. Because, just because they're another human being doesn't automatically mean that they are worthy of being your friend. Know your own worth. Know that, sorry, this, you can't treat me like this, or I don't like it when we do this. We haven't done something that I like yet. We're always drinking. We're not drinking. We never drink. We never have fun. We never cut loose. Just because you enjoy alcohol doesn't mean that, your feelings or desires are any less valuable or meaningful than someone who's sober all the time, right? Because, like I said, you're a human being, and you like to have fun. It's no big deal. So yeah, you're going to be tempted to fall into a crowd and, try to not suck up to them, but for fear of loneliness, you will overlook any sort of negative aspect. Well, don't do that. Korea is going to give you an excellent opportunity to get used to being by yourself. That is one thing that I'm great at. I can entertain myself. I can have stimulating thoughts and philosophical discussions with myself. So I'm not compelled. I don't feel like when someone's hanging out with me, they're doing me a favor. I think that it's a mutual exchange. Hey, I'm feeling a little bit lonely, and I value you. You don't annoy me. So let's get together. Anyways, that's 10 minutes. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. And this is going to remain as unprofessional as it has been. Goodbye.